everyone. So, the hits just keep on coming.
Yay!
So, as you probably saw in our recent video, we talked about the recent law changes in Texas, Florida, I know there's one in Georgia, because Republicans can't stop screwing with children. Just saying.
Yeah. Y'all need to stop it?
Under the guise of protecting them. Oh, Emma, thank you so much for the Tier 1 subscription donated. That's amazing. So, yeah. So let's see what we got going today. Stokes Theorem, thank you so much for the Tier 1 sub. You remember her? MTG, Magic the Gathering. Not really. Magic the Gathering is more based than this. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene. For those who don't matter, no, I don't know how you couldn't. She's insane.
Yup.
This is the woman who believes that forest fires were started by Jewish space lasers. This is a woman who is deeply rooted in QAnon. She is a Nazi. Whether she calls herself one or not is irrelevant. She is a fascist by every indication.
Isn't she still getting fined by Congress for not wearing a mask?
I believe so, unless that's changed. So here's what she said about trans people. Republican Congress member Marjorie Taylor Greene advocated for violence against trans people in an appearance on conspiracy theorist Alex Jones's InfoWars show on Wednesday, the same day that Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered state agencies to investigate the parents of transitioning children for child abuse. Greene was referencing a story making the rounds on conservative media about non-binary counselors at a school science camp in California sleeping in the same cabin as young girls. I think it's straight up evil, Greene said. The camp, the Poly Institute outdoor education program in Running Springs, told KTLA of Los Angeles that the non-binary counselor who slept in the same cabin were not biologically male. Again, that's weird, but okay. Andy Wexler, the camp's owner, also denied it. We can tell you for sure that this did not happen, Wexler told Fox News Tuesday, as much as we can without looking down someone's pants. While counselors may have used the pronouns they, them, the use of these pronouns is not restricted to biological males. Wait, why would it go off? The Poly Institute told KTLA. Biological females also use those terms. Okay, I really don't like the biological we're throwing out here, but, go off. But that did not stop Georgia Representative Greene from fantasizing about how her husband would react if he found out their daughter was sleeping in the same cabin as a transgender woman. If I was a parent and my 5th grade daughter had to sleep and shower in the same kind of cabin at some summer camp that I paid money to send my child to, and there was a man calling himself a woman sleeping in her cabin, showering with her, that guy, he'd be in jail, Greene said. He would be in jail. Well, first off, my husband probably beat him into the ground, and then he would be in jail, Greene added. But this is exactly how we need to stand up to this against this stuff. So she just
I'm trying really hard not to go into rage mode right now.
So I apologize for anyone getting triggered by transphobia. Okay, so where to start? One, yeah, right, weird champ, threat of violence. Okay, so here's the thing. I want to be clear. The camp counselors don't shower with the kids there, to my knowledge.
No.
You used to be a camp counselor. Does that happen?
No, of course not.
So, first off, this is insane. Second off, the issue with this situation is that there's so many assumptions here that are bizarre. So first off, there's this bait and switch being done where you're taking a AFAB non-binary person and now you're like doing a switcheroo with this fictional hypothetical trans woman and then immediately projecting that she is some sort of predator without any evidence or any reason other than your hypothetical scenario has suggested such. So this buys into like every falsity. First off, it is not only people who are assigned male at birth who transition. This is nonsense. Trans men exist, trans masc people exist, and there are non-binary people who are AFAB. Sorry. In fact, AFAB people outnumber AMAB people as far as non-binary. I believe it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So the idea that this person is biologically male is mathematically unlikely. But also, here's the thing. It doesn't matter. Biology is just words we made up to describe phenomenon that seem to be reoccurring patterns within humanity within a bimodal system. Right?
Yup.
So this idea that someone, again, because they were assigned a certain gender at birth, is going to act in a particular way is insane. And while yes, we can say, oh, there's rates that show like cis males are more likely to commit certain types of violence and all that stuff, but we're not talking about cis people. We're talking about trans people. And the data on that is a little bit more complicated. So there's a way in which you can already see the ignorance in the way people are presenting this stuff, rather than actually acknowledge that, one, I highly doubt a counselor slept in the same room as a kid. That just doesn't check out, as far as I know from you.
So, well, I mean, not exactly.
Okay, well, please correct me.
If you are going to a camp and you have a large open area, you may have staff and kids sleeping in the same area. But just because you're sleeping, like, in a sleeping bag, does not mean that that area is also your changing area, okay? Changing areas have private locations, right? Private bathrooms. That's not the same as just, hey, we're just chilling all in the same room. So yeah, no, you could be in a position where, like your whole camp here is now, like, in the gym of a building kind of thing, right? Especially if you had, like, a thunderstorm that night. Your whole camp might be in the gym, all right, of whatever building you've got, because that's just the only safe place to be, okay? But by and large, though, the thing that does happen is I've never seen a camp just be like, keep this stuff hidden. Like, I've been at camps with gender neutral, areas, okay? And they're upfront about what those areas are, how those areas work, okay? We still have to use, male and female restrooms. They're still all separated, okay? And this is something that the parents all know about. You have signed up for this before you sent your kid, all right? No one's just getting this surprised on you. And there's generally choice and options. It's not stuff that, like, anyone is hiding.
Can I point out a contradiction in their logic real quick that I just realized and I hadn't thought about till now, and I feel dumb for not realizing it? So, let's go with their hypothetical trans woman. Now, I'm going to, for a moment in this hypothetical, go with their logic that this is a biological man. I don't believe in this. I don't think that's how things work. That is nonsense. However, let's assume for a moment that this person is, via their views, identified as a man. Their argument is that man is going to have a high likelihood of hurting children, right? That's the argument here, is that this person is pretending to be something and then they're going to do these actions. This is from the same party that doesn't believe that rape culture exists and that they believe at some level that the child abuse rates are not as bad as they say. This fear-mongering about what trans people will do doesn't actually align with their other platforms. By definition, they're actually in some way doing this by being this specific variation of transmisogynistic, because that's what this is. It's transmisogyny. It's transphobia with a weird nougat center of transmisogyny. The thing is that what they're actually giving up the ghost on is they know better. It's the same reason when a conservative parent meets his his daughter's new boyfriend, he threatens him with a shotgun, or at least that's the frickin' joke. Think about that. Why do they do that? Why is it there? Because they know what boys are quote unquote going to do. So they're in some ways giving up the ghost that they know that there is this tendency for boys or people who were assigned male at birth to be certain ways. Now, one, it's arguable that they are that way. Also, there's a lot of questions around the idea of how much of that is socialization, especially because of the way rape culture functions. And the thing is, we don't really teach kids how to deal with the differences between sex and power. But I want you guys to notice that, like, what Green is doing here is actually, to some degree, giving up the ghost of what they genuinely think. They know, or believe at least, that men are dangerous. And now we know that's not the case. We know many men who are not. But it's interesting that they have this incredible contradiction.
Well, this is such a weird one anyways, because if you work with youth in a camp setting, you know, especially in scouting, the big thing that we get taught is that you always have at least 3 people around. You know, be that two youth and an adult, or 2 adults and a youth. There's always multiple people around, okay? That way no one can be taken advantage of, you know, in a one-on-one situation. And, like, that's so common. Do you know how common that is in Boy Scouts? Like, that's literally one of the first things that you have to go through this training as an adult. And, again, they got ties, you know, these fucking people should know better. Like, and frankly, they probably do. But here we are reading this article about them.
True. No one, not even the parents of campers who have spoken to Fox News and other outlets, have accused the non-binary counselors of abuse in any crime. A parent who had complained publicly about the sleeping arrangements told Fox News this week that she had found out about the non-binary counselors after her daughter and her friends were allegedly abused by a counselor who is a cisgender woman. Holy shit.
What is even... Wow, this...
Holy shit. First off, sorry that happened to those kids, but also... Marjorie Taylor Greene's worried about a trans woman when the person that did it was a cisgender woman. There's so much gender nonsense here. Women don't do... A cisgender woman just did.
I like how the story just keeps going in loops, though. Or not even like... It's not even like a loop, but it just... There's just so many pieces that are just off. And by the time Marjorie Taylor Greene's talking about it, it's not even like the same as the situation that happened.
I want to read that again just for people. Yeah, it spirals, Tiamat. A parent who had complained publicly about the sleeping arrangements told Fox News this week that she found out about the non-binary counselors after her daughter and her friends were allegedly abused by a counselor who is a cisgender woman. Still, Green claimed that being transgender was a perversion and that children are being groomed to accept other people and themselves as transgender. I don't think it's wrong to stand up and say, we are not going to tolerate this, Green said. Men, get out of our bathrooms, get out of our sports. These are private places. So, those aren't men, they're trans women, but also notice the immediate assumption of perversion. I think the word she's looking for is degeneracy. This is why when we talk about Echo, why I make the claim, Zena and I hold to this very standard, there is no difference between modern conservatism and Nazis. The only difference is that, let's be clear, conservatives aren't great at marching in step, and they feign pretending that they care about democracy, except when it comes to gerrymandering districts, or actual liberty for that matter.
Well, I hate reading this shit because, like, the thing is that this just throws up red herring. Instead of actually dealing with the problem, instead you go and blame somebody else unrelated as just another way to get at the trans people. And no, it just turns into cruelty at that point. That's all it is.
Yep. Psychosocialism, some crimes can't be forgiven. This is just the latest round of transphobic comments from Green. Almost exactly 1 year ago, Green purposely misgendered the child of a Democratic representative, Marie Newman, during a debate over the Equality Act and the Democrat LGBTQ plus civil rights bill. As a mother, we all love and support our children. Green, whose personal account has since been banned from Twitter for repeated misinformation about a pandemic, tweeted at Newman at the time, but your biological son does not belong in daughter's restrooms, locker rooms, and sports teams. So, there's more.
Oh no. Oh, I'm already in rage mode. Oh. Oh yeah. Oh no, it's bad. It's bad.
But wait, there's more.
It's
fucking
still
Billy Mays
bad.
up in this bitch. Fucking Billy Mays up in this bitch. Prepare your butts.
It's okay, Ad Astra. I'm not
Oh,
prepared
it won't get
either,
worse.
But...
Narrator, it got much worse. Let's see. Marjorie Taylor Greene gets a warm welcome at CPAC after headlining White Nationalist Conference. I mean, to be fair, she was at 2 of them. CPAC is just another one. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia was warmly welcomed at the Conservative Political Action Conference on Saturday. the day after she appeared at a surprise speaker at the white nationalist conference hosted by an anti-Semitic white nationalist activist, Nicholas Fuentes. In the past, CPAC has shunned the fringiest, most racist elements of the Republican Party. That's why Fuentes created the American First Political Action Conference, or AFPAC. It offers white nationalists who are trying to capture the GOP their own place to gather adjacent to more mainstream CPAC. But the Trumpists' white nationalist fringe is increasingly welcomed in today's GOP, and Green easily shifts from one conference to the other, demonstrating that trend. Times are changing fast. Just 3 years ago, Republican leadership stripped Representative Steve King of Iowa, a buddy of Fuentes, of his committee memberships after he voiced support for white nationalism in a New York Times interview. King went on to lose his Republican primary after having held the seat for 9 terms.
Holy shit.
2 years later, the Democratic House majority stripped Green of her committee assigned over anti-Semitic, conspiracy-laden, and violent comments. Again, Jewish lasers. Though, this time, most of her Republican colleagues supported her. Fast forward to this weekend, where Green saw no consequences from the party's standard bearers after she embraced Fuentes. Fittingly, as Mother Jones Stephanie Mensper, I can't pronounce that, noted, she appeared at CPAC on a panel titled, "They Can't Shut Us Up." God, she's like the Karen of Karens, like the meta Karen. Fuentes has a long history of voicing opinions that used to get you ostracized in Washington. Here's a sample of compiled anti-defamation leg. Also, by the way, real quick, Nick Fuentes is banned off of every platform. He's banned off of Twitter, if I believe. He's banned off of YouTube. Fuentes has a long history of voicing opinions that used to get you ostracized in Washington. Here's a sample of compiled by the Defamation League. I read that already, but I want to be very clear where we left off. He has referred to Daily Wire columnist Matt Walsh as a Shabo Goy race traitor. Ooh, because he works for Jew Ben Shapiro, a Jewish conservative, runs the Daily Wire. Wow, 2 for 1. On a live stream episode, Fuentes jokingly denied the Holocaust and compared... Not going to read that one out loud. On May 24th, 2021, Fuentes participated in a debate on the right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones' Infowars with Robert Barnes, a man described as a constitutional lawyer who has legally defended both Jones and Kenosha shooter Kyle Rittenhouse. During the debate, Fuentes made numerous anti-Semitic remarks, including, "I don't see Jews as Europeans, and I don't see them as part of Western civilization, particularly they are not Christian." I didn't read the middle one. The middle one is bad. Fuentes marched at the deadly white nationalist rally in Charlottesville in 2017. On January 6th, he was outside the U.S. Capitol urging the mob to participate in insurrection. As for Green, her own story included joining Congress last year as a supporter of the pro-Trump QAnon conspiracy and describing January 6th as just a riot. And if you think about what our Declaration of Independence says, it says overthrow tyrants. Before the Georgia representative took to the stage at the AFPAC, Fuentes led the crowd in a round of cheers for Russia's invasion of Ukraine and for Russian President Vladimir Putin. Oh my God. At the end of the conference, New York Magazine reported Fuentes offered praise for Adolf Hitler. And now they're going on about Russia and Vladimir Putin is Hitler. And they say that's not a good thing. Holy crap.
Wow.
As Green left CPAC on Saturday, she denied to reporters that she knew anything about Fuentes, claiming she had spoken at AFPAC to reach Fuentes' very large audience. Green had a history of espousing racist views, only to later claim ignorance. Yeah, all right. But as the popular saying goes, tell me who you walk with, and I'll tell you who you are. That goes for Green and increasingly the Republican Party. True. So, despite the fact this segment has gone on way too long and we have unfortunately been dealing with technical issues, what does all this mean? Marjorie Taylor Greene is not only a just clearly disturbed person and a racist and a transphobe, she is a person who is a danger to herself and others.
Yep.
And I don't say that lightly. She is a person who is constantly trying to galvanize people into the worst possible positions. The fact that she claims she doesn't know who Nick Fuentes is makes no sense because she still went to the thing. Why would you go to a convention you don't know who's going to be there or what their politics are? She knows exactly who Fuentes is. She's just like him. Again, I apologize to people for any mistakes in this segment as far as the technical issues, but at the end of the day, I do want people to be aware of the fact that, like, no, really? This woman is absolutely an enemy to any progressive, and we need to treat her as such. I know we want to sit there and clown on her and call her, like, not that big of a deal, but she is. Because she represents who they truly are. You get that, right? Like, she represents who they truly are. This is their soul. This is their essence. This is their way of being. So, something to be aware of going forward. Again, I apologize I didn't watch this segment going in the future and for any of the editing issues, but bear with us. With that said, I don't think we have anything else other than just derision and hatred for this woman.
Yep. That's true.
So, with that said, we'll see you guys in the next one, all right?
Mm-hmm.
If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, consider donating to us. You can support us on our website, transgirltherapist.org. You can also help us on our Patreon, link below, or you can become a member here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching.